Good morning, everyone. I welcome you to today's edition of Real Estate Insights. I am Oyedare Timothy, and I'll be the facilitator for today's training. The topic for today's training is urban and regional planning. There has been a lot of misconstruction about what urban and regional planning is, both amongst the so-called learned and people that doesn't have a very high level of formal education, so to say. So with this training, I believe I will be able to open our eyes to what urban and regional planning is and how far we can embrace urban and regional planning in our day-to-day life and our subsequent developments. This will be through the exposition on the rationale for urban planning, the roles of urban planners in city development, and examples of projects that has involved urban planning in Nigeria, basically. So, I defined urban and regional planning as about organizing land, buildings, and services to make cities and towns better to live. Urban and regional planning is a field, a profession that organizes land uses and buildings such that everybody in the city, everybody in the community lives a happy life, a life that everyone could live up to and say, now I'm enjoying life. And how do we do this? We do this by creating land use zones. When I say land use is the predominant activity that a land is subjected to. It ranges from residential to commercial to open spaces and transportation. Now to the rationale for urban planning. Most times and over times, the decision to employ urban planning in most of our development is based on identified problems or a goal that has been formulated. And what do I mean by this? For instance, when urban planning is to come on board around the 18th century, the advent of the profession itself is to solve an identified problem. Because then it was during the end of the Industrial Revolution and the environment has been messed up, the environment is messed up, environmental pollution, and there are a lot of things, environmental issues that needs to be addressed. So to this end, urban and regional planning now came on board, that how can we address these basic problems that we have now. And also in the case of Nigeria, when the Federal Capital Territory is to be moved from Lagos State, it was based on the fact that a problem is identified that at this rate, if Lagos State is to be the Federal Capital Territory and is to serve as the commercial hub of the nation, in the long run, the city is going to collapse. So what do we do to solve this problem? So that's why the issue of now let's have a central location, which is Abuja, and let's build a federal capital territory in Abuja. And about the formulation of goals, for instance, Adbond has been able to understand that for the company to secure a future space and to meet certain goals that as exemplified in our mission statement, there is need to engage professionals, which includes urban planners, architects, and every professional in the built environment, so that the mission statement of the company can be achieved. So that's why urban planning now comes on board, that, okay, we have this area of land, we want to do it such that we'll be able to secure a future space, and every aim of the company as regards agro to home development is met. So that formulated goal is what drives Adbond, Harvest and Homes into the practice of urban planning also. I'll go straight to the roles of urban planners in city development. The first role of urban planners in city development is land use planning. And when I say land use planning, what do I mean? Urban planners are responsible for designing and regulating land use within the city. And what do I mean by this? There are different land use within the cities, and you can't just put land use anyhow. Like, you can't imagine a residential area being located close to an industrial area. It is so off, and it will result into a number of environmental situation that won't be palatable both to the individual living around those areas and the like. So urban planners have been trained and have been skilled in this aspect of arranging land uses such that the compatible ones are brought together while the incompatible ones are separated. Another role of urban planners is an avenue where urban planners, through the incorporation of other professionals in the built environment like architects, engineers, they come together and make our environments livable. A city itself is a living entity, and you can't just come up and just do anything like that. It must be such that your buildings, your roads, everything has to connect together, just like the human body. The head is such that it's connected to other parts of the body, and every part cannot do without other parts of the body. So is also the urban system. The residential area must be such that it must flow alongside with the commercial areas. It must flow alongside with the recreational areas. So this is one of the goals which urban design seeks to achieve. And to achieve this, urban planners have a significant role to play in this aspect. Another role of urban planners is infrastructure planning. And what do I mean by infrastructure? Infrastructure are basic amenities that we enjoy as community members. This includes the road system, it includes the drainage, sewerage, and water supply system and all. This is what I meant. That is what is called infrastructure. So urban planners are the ones saddled with the responsibility of determining what and where these elements should be within our urban system. For instance, when a city master plan is to be drawn, they take into consideration the population that the city is to take over. For instance, you can't be for a road system, you can't be proposing a 9 meters road that will just contain 2 lanes of cars and probably a very tiny sidewalk for a community that is accommodating like 50,000 people. That won't work. So urban planners take this into consideration while planning for infrastructure. Also, another thing about the infrastructure planning is a failed infrastructure system is a failed community. And that is one of the problems that we are facing in Nigeria today. That's why you see most of our cities, you hear about flooding and improper sewage disposal system. So infrastructure planning is one of the basic strengths of urban planners to achieve a community that is safe and secure in terms of health and well-being of the community members. Also, interdisciplinary roles of town planners in the built environment. Like I said earlier, the built environment, nobody is an island of knowledge. Nobody is the master of the built environment. The built environment is such that every member of the built environment professionals, I'll put it that way, every member of the built environment professional is very important in this aspect. An urban planner is very important, the architect is very important, the engineers, they are very important. So, and over time, and most times, urban planners are like, they coordinate the whole project. They bring in together the necessary professionals and make sure that everybody works hand in hand to achieve a desired goal. For instance, in the design of the Abuja Master Plan, it is such that the architects come up with the design ideas. The urban planners know what they want. They formulated the goals, they've done their research, the population, the demography of Nigeria, and everything that needs to be known. So it is now for them to now go to this interdisciplinary role, because it is not a one-man's job. And everybody needs a very important role to play to achieve a functional urban space. Policy formulation and regulation. I will dwell much on this. This is one of the basic drivers of a sustainable community. Town planners create, enforce policies, rules and regulations that guide development and use of land. And some of these policies that are being formed, they include the building codes, the zoning plan, and development control. Most times, there is this misconstruction about urban planners that they call them wole, but that's not what it is. For instance, under the building code, there is minimum habitable room size for every rooms. It must be at least 10 meters squared. Now you are coming up with an idea of something lesser than that. The town planners are saying, no, you can't do that. Or there is electric cables in front of your house. They are telling you to have these so meters away from the electric pole. But you are saying that their problem is too much and you can't just leave that much land for them. And they put a seal in your development, and you are saying they are like a graffiti, that you don't like it and all. These are some of the things that urban planners do that it is misconstrued by people. However, it is for the safety and for the well-being of everybody. There are instances where the cables will just snap and it causes a lot of harm and damages. Who is to be blamed? Is it the town planner that is enforcing the regulation, or the developer that is acting too smart to just let go of certain amount of land from the property to ensure its safety? So this is just like a wake-up call to us. Anytime we are out there and you see people like trying to outplay a laid-down rule, like the issue of this building collapse that is along the canals that the Lagos State is enforcing. These are just what is expected. They are just the normal thing, but sometimes the approach might be wrong. But what has to be done must be done. It is for the safety and for the well-being of the residents, and not that the town planners are wole. They are not demolishers. They are just doing what ought to be, but it has been misconstrued, probably because of the approach that has been and over time. So these policy formulations are just like they are the drivers for the sustainable environment that we all desire. Another role of town planners is community and stakeholder engagements. This is another very important aspect of every development project. And this is the problem that most of our projects in Nigeria has. Our development project most times doesn't really engage the community and the stakeholders involved. When the Abuja Master Plan was drawn and the indigenous people of Abuja had to be relocated, the indigenous people of Abuja, they are locals. They believe that you don't have a toilet within your house. That is very wrong. So when the government came on board that, okay, we want to relocate you guys from this area because we want to have the federal capital city in this area, they built houses, their rooms were ensuite, the kitchen furnished and the likes. But these people are used to cooking with firewood, and they believe that a toilet is a very dirty place and it shouldn't be within the building. So when they did this for them, they still find out that they still go out to defecate, because they were not engaged along the line in the development process. And when the community are not engaged in the development, they will see the project as your project. They will not see it as our project. Do you get what I'm trying to say? They will see it as the government project and not our project. But when the community is engaged, that, okay, what do you think? This is what we want to do for you people. You show them the visuals, you show them everything, you show them the plan, and you show them what will come out from the whole plan. And they say, okay, this is not how we do our things. Can you do this and this and this? That's where the role of the professionals now come in. Okay, this is what these people want. How do we address this professionally such that the project will be what will be worthwhile, while the interest of the people and the community will also be protected? So urban planning will always seek to engage the people through town hall meetings and all, meeting with community heads and the likes, that this is the project, how do we go about it, this is what we want to do, and this is what is expected of you people. How do we integrate all these things together? This is what forms the bedrock of a successful development project. So there are case studies of where urban planners have worked over time, and it has been something that has been worthwhile. I have the Centenary City in Abuja, Eko Atlantic in Lagos, Isimi Lagos, and the Legacy Avalon, our very own in Abeokuta. So I'll be showing the visuals of some of these things. This is the Centenary City in Abuja. It was an area here marked during the term of Goodluck Jonathan to mark the 100 years of Nigeria, like 2014, to mark the 100 years of Nigeria existence. So we can see the layout of the Centenary City, and it is a joint work of urban planners, architects, as I rightly said, and every professionals in the built environment. And another important aspect of urban development project is that it transcends beyond professionals in the built environment. There are professionals in history that comes around. For instance, when you are to like this kind of projects, you must know the history of the people before you come on board to do some things. I was under a teaching of a lecturer, so they were talking about two communities. They are always at war about this is my boundary and that is my boundary. So over time, this has kept reoccurring, and has disrupted a lot of development projects that could have happened within those towns. So what they do is they invited an historian. What has been the pattern of history of those two people? How do we resolve this issue so that development project that we want in this area can be achieved? And that is one of the things that helped the Abuja people a lot, the Abuja master plan a lot, because Abuja encompasses a lot of indigenous tribes that needs to be infused into the development project. So the Abuja master plan incorporated a lot of professionals to come up with this, and we can see how beautiful it is, and we hope Nigeria achieves it, because it's still a white elephant project. Despite the good visuals and the good intentions, we can still see that it is still not achieved to the fullest now. Another project is the Eko Atlantic. Many of our real estate insights that has focused on architecture and urban planning has talked about this wonderful piece in Lagos. And like I said, it's a collaborative effort of both the town planners, the architects, and other professionals in the built environment. Also, the Simi Lagos, we can see the serene environment, we can see the beauty, the ambience of the green spaces, unlike what you see if all these things are not put into considerations. And to our own very Avalon, Legacy Avalon, there's nothing much to say about this, but there is much to say about it, actually. It's a collaborative work of the architecture and the urban planning department. The concept is to have a central garden, like a roundabout, to be the focal point of the development, while we have our housing units flanked by the side. So this was the idea we run with, and we came up with this piece that involves a center roundabout here, the children's playground, and apartments, the bungalow and the terrace apartments, while the central facilities are at the middle. So these are some of the things that urban planners do in collaboration with other professionals in the built environment. Many thanks for your listening. I would take our questions, and from the online space, if there is any questions, you can drop it in the comment section and it will be attended to. Thank you very much.